Area of triangles. There's technically two formulas you can use for finding the area of a triangle. I like to generally use this first one whenever you're talking about whole numbers, and I generally like to use the second one whenever I'm working with decimal numbers within triangles. And then we're talking about the end of why the formula works. But let's hop in. We're going to have three problems. It's ugly three, but three problems. And the last one's going to be a more difficult one that focuses around decimals. So we're going to follow along with the base times height divided by 2. Base times height divided by 2. And let's go to this first one. Now I'm going to tell you that your base is usually the bottommost line, and they're going to give you that information. So it's going to be the side they usually give you, and then the height is the base to the opposite point. What is that imaginary distance? So if we were to set it up, we have 4 centimeters for a base. We have a height of 3 centimeters. And then at the end, we're going to divide all of this by 2. So let's work through how we'd figure out this problem. We're going to multiply our numbers. 4 times 3 is 12. And area is going to be centimeters squared because you're doing centimeters times centimeters, which is centimeters squared. And then you're going to divide your answer by 2. So the 2 doesn't have a unit with it, so you're just going to do the 12 divided by 2 is 6, and you're going to keep your centimeters squared. So if you were to talk about your area of this triangle, it is 6 centimeters squared. Now let's talk about a different triangle. Here we have a base of 10, and because the base, this is a right triangle, the opposite most point is up here, so to figure out the height, it is going to be this line of 6 inches. So let me set up my equation. I have base of 10 inches, I have a height of 6 inches, and I'm going to divide it by 2 at the end. Go through this just a little quicker. 10 times 6 is 60. Inches times inches is inches squared, and I'm going to divide all of that by 2. 60 divided by 2 is 30. And my inches squared is just going to stay inches squared. So that means the area of this triangle is 30 inches squared. The last one is like really your more difficult problem, not because you're doing anything different. You're still figuring out, okay, the base times the height. But what makes this more difficult is you now have decimals. Now going back to what I first said, I'm going to use this formula in blue. Base times height times 0.5. It's going to give you the same answer as the purple formula, but I like multiplying decimals more than I like dividing decimals. So that's just a personal preference thing. So I have the base. The problem will be set up as base times height, 2.3 meters. And instead of at the end dividing by 2, I'm actually going to multiply it by 0.5. Because when you multiply by a half, you're actually making it smaller. So let's do the problem. We have 5.1 times 2.3. Put it down here so I have space. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump the decimals out the way and count my jumps. It took 2. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. Skip a line, put a 0. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. I add up my numbers. 3, 7, 1, 1. And I need to jump my decimal back 2 times. So 11.73 is what I have, but I need to multiply that number. I'll move it up here. I need to multiply that number by 0.5 to find the area. Jump my decimal, 1, 2, 3. It took me 3 jumps. And I multiply. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 7 is 35. 35 plus 1 is 36. 5 times 1 plus 3 is 8. And 5 times 1 is 5. And jump my decimal back 1, 2, 3 times. So my answer is 5.865 meters squared. So that is my area. Zoom back out. That's my area for this triangle. Now going back to what I said at the very beginning, why does this work the way it does? So let's say I focus on, or why do we divide it by 2 really? I'll use this triangle, just a little bit easier to see. Now this triangle, at the end when we're finding our area, we had to divide it by 2. Why is that? Well, imagine this triangle was not a triangle and I made it a rectangle, even though it looks like a square. 10 by 6 would be 60 inches, so that means that half of 60 is 30. That's why you divide it by 2. So thanks for watching. Come back for other videos. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.